3 days after I left here. And so it's just a little $1 million plumbing company. You know what I mean? Just a little $1 million plumbing company. You get that? Yeah. So you guys have me so fired up because I kept picturing myself being in your position.
Sorry, Kenny, for late.
No, I just started. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
I didn't get the memo or what, man? I just
5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Kenny's coming here, bro.
I told you yesterday, big dog, but it's all right.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Come on, I told you.
It's all right.
7 o'clock this morning, man.
So look, guys. I was just for you guys that weren't here. I was telling these guys last time I left here, I got freaking so fired up. I went out looking for something I can do more than what I was doing. And 3 days after I left here, I bought another plumbing company, guys. Think about that for a minute, guys. It sounds fucking nuts, right? It sounds nuts. Oh, this guy went out and bought another $1 million plumbing company. It does $1 million a year. It's a small plumbing company. Got a few employees, 4 or 5 trucks. And guess what, guys? I already paid for it because I was like, you know what? I don't even want to owe anything on this plumbing company. I just want to fucking have it, and I want to put it online. We've done 15 jobs. We've made more money on the plumbing company that I bought than I paid for it. Already, guys. It's possible. I haven't even come out of my pockets a dime yet. It paid for itself in what has it been? 3 weeks? You know, and I've been over there messing with his sewer line and working with him. I haven't even had the time really to buy a plumbing company, but I did it. I squeezed it in, guys, because you know what? When I left here, I was like, I got to come and tell these guys that you can do more every single day. So just a show of hands, I want to see who has done something, not this week or this last 3 weeks, who did something today after they woke up, it's still early, to make it better, to make what you're doing better. Who has made a step? Everybody's made. So look, I try to do it every day. I'm not successful every day, obviously, because sometimes it's just so fucking good. Because when you're trying to be better every single day, sometimes it's just good. You know what I mean? But you can still try. You can still push. You guys got me pushing. And I pushed, and I bought that plumbing company, and then I closed, and then I was like, fuck, I gotta tell these guys something even more exciting. And then I closed on another deal with the gun store I'm buying. So that was exciting. And then I thought, well, what can I tell these guys to make them understand that it's possible for every motherfucker in this room and in this country and everywhere else to do more every single day. And I started thinking about what makes us, like when we're in prison, we got this fucking CO or whatever that's got an 8th grade education, and you know, kind of like us, right? We're like, I'm an 8th grade, I didn't make it to 8th grade, so I'm a 7th grade education guy, right? I went and got a GED, did the whole thing like everybody else. And these guys are in charge of us, right? And it's real easy to get in this low frequency thing where you're like, okay, fuck life and fuck it and fucking bam and all this other kind of fucking shit. But, you know, then I said, you know, this week or this last couple of weeks I've been working with Speedy a little bit. It's funny because me and Speedy don't know each other, right? We didn't grow up in the same neighborhood from what I know and all that stuff. I don't know that much about Speedy, but Speedy has an issue, and I'll just share some stuff that you're going through. His sewer line's all fucked up, and that's not my specialty, but sewer lines is like first day on the job for plumbers, you know that, right? And he's like, and I said, well, look, I can get guys over there just do it. And he said, no, I'm gonna do it. And he said, it's a blessing. And I was like, fuck, no, it's not a blessing. It's never a fucking blessing when you're digging. But he's like, it's a blessing. I thought about that for a minute. I was like, you know what? That is the fucking secret sauce, you guys. To be in this contraction phase, right? To be in a contraction. And for your life to just feel fucked. And you're like, this is when I'm getting the most out of it. Because when it's easy, you don't learn anything. So, but if you go and you get in that contraction phase and you're like, I'm gonna rip down a fucking bottle of Jack Daniels, which used to be my MO. I drank Jack Daniels from the bottle, guys. You know what I mean? That was my thing. Fucking did all the other shit too, but I'm just saying that was my MO when I was trying to stay away from the feeling of being low in these contraction phases. Now, and obviously me and Speedy kind of have that. We talked a lot about you guys because you guys are important to me too. Look what you guys did for me. We had this talk, and I went out and bought a plumbing company. And I've already pulled a paycheck from that plumbing company. I just want to use this as an example. I don't want you guys to feel like this is boasting. That plumbing company already gave me a $10,000 check this week. That's my paycheck from the company I just bought, you guys. Okay, so keep in mind, 7th grade education, fucking projects, lived in the projects, food stamp kid, penny counter, the whole thing, guys. Don't have anything extra. I don't have anything extra except for every single day I take my contractions seriously. When it's low and it sucks and fucking it seems like you're getting out of New Freedom and you got no fucking place to go and all that other bullshit, that is the time that you learn how to find places to go, how to do stuff. You know what I mean? I'm talking to one of the guys that's in here with you guys, and he called me the other day. He said, hey, we got a mutual friend. I'm going to move in with him. I said, who's the mutual friend? And he told me, well, I know the guy got out and was very successful, then lost his business because he got back on drugs, and now he's in this contraction phase. Well, my advice would be, don't move into a house with a guy that's in a contraction phase, in a fucking terrible position right now, because then you just join his terrible position. So I wanted to ask you guys who made the noticeable changes today, you know, like, because it's important. Like every single day you're like, okay, well I did 10 sets on the bench press at this amount of weight yesterday or 3 days ago. Maybe today I just do one more set, you know. If you do one more set, that's progress, right? If that's the only thing you do all fucking day, you still were better than the day before, the last time you did it, guys. Very important to try to do. That's why I don't even count them anymore, guys, just for your guys' information. I don't count reps anymore. I just do them until I can't do them. Because then I know I'm getting better. Then I know I'm getting better every time, right? So look, guys, just act with intention. Get up, wake up in the morning and say, okay, yesterday kind of sucked, and this is, if you reflect, in the fire business, we called it after-action review. After-action review meant, what happened? What can we do better, right? They do this whole after-action review. It's a whole process, and it's mandatory, federal mandate, that you do an after-action review, and it's documented. Well, if you do that for a fire, if you do that in the fire business, why not just do it in your life? You know, just say, what happened yesterday? Why was I in such a bad mood at 12 o'clock? Well, maybe I didn't eat in time. Maybe I ate shitty food beforehand. What made me feel that way at 12 o'clock? You know, do an after-action review, guys. Just figure it out, you know, just figure yourselves out. So act with intention. Wake up in the morning and say, okay, this is the one thing I'm gonna do better. If you do that one thing right then and there, well then you've already done something better than the day before. And if you do another better thing, well, even better, right? So just keep that in mind. So I was talking to somebody the other day about somebody that I said I hated, and then I thought, well, I tell my kid, don't waste a bunch of time on hate, right? And so when we get out of prison, we hate not only ourselves, but we have this group of people we hate, like the people that put us in prison. I pulled my police reports out and I was reading about this guy. He was a really close friend of mine. And he is, I used to say he's the reason I went to prison when I was around all the cool guys. I used to say he's the reason that I went to prison. Because it's very obviously like he was working with the cops to get me, you know, for me to get raided and all this kind of stuff, right? So I was like, and this guy in prison is one of these fucking big, like, monster personalities. Runs everything, you know, smashes people, does the whole thing, right? But out there, he wasn't smashing through nothing, right? He talked to the cops, and I hated him. Well, when I started to kind of change my mindset, I ended up on a yard with him. And I got 17 years because of him. Well, 18, I did 17. And I saw him, and there was a fence between us, and I made a decision right there to say, I'm a changed man. Like, I'm a changed man. I'm already doing the time. I did the crimes. He did what he had to do to keep from going to prison on my crimes, right? 150 guns, whatever, that they busted him with. He had to let them know they were mine, all this kind of stuff, whatever. They were mine. And I thought about it for a minute, and I said, I'm not gonna fucking go to war with this guy when my life is fucking going this way. If I go to war with this guy, I'm going right back to that lifestyle. I'm putting myself right back in there. So I implore you guys to just for a split second. So I hated him, guys. He made me go to prison. I hated him. So I yelled through the fence and I said, are we fighting or are we fucking? That's what I said to him. And we loved each other. We really did love each other. And so that's all that really matters, right? Because I looked through all the fucking smoke and all the mirrors and all that shit, and the common denominator of why all this shit happened was drugs. But in all reality, he's really this fucking really badass guy. Like, he's really like somebody that I fucking mixed with in this world. In fact, when he finally did get out of prison, he got some more time while he was in there, but when he finally did get out, I brought him up. And I'll tell you guys, there's nothing that has made me feel more powerful than letting that go. And so I implore you guys just for a split second. I know that fucking we're all cool and, you know, we're fucking badass and everybody knows we've been in prison and we don't fucking let nothing slide and this and that and this and that. Close your eyes, guys, and think about something for a minute. Think about the person you hate the most in this world. The person you have the most disdain or hate or fucking conflict with. And let it go. Let it go, because you can't go anywhere with it. You can't make it to the next level carrying that. You can't. Let it go. Put your arms around that person fucking in your mind and say, we were around each other for a reason at one point, and this is why we are, this is why I'm here now. This is why you guys are sitting here listening to me now. Because of that person. If that person gives you that hate and discontent feeling, well, then you take that negative energy into everything. So if you're just going through your day, and let's say you got a job fucking whatever, bagging groceries, whatever, and then all of a sudden you see somebody that reminds you of that person, well, what happens to your whole fucking day? Let it go. Let that go. It's not that fucking serious. What is serious is your guys' progression through this world and how you guys represent. It's hard, guys. We hate exes, these exes that took our kids, or we hate exes that fucking, you know, females that have had their hands, people put their hands on you and stuff like that. Let it go. Let it go. Easier said than done, right? I'm going to take it one step further. Think of the person or the people that you love most in this world too. And be willing to walk away from them. Be willing to walk away from them if they're not part of that progression as well, right? So show love to the ones you hate to get that progression started, and be able to walk away from the ones you love to continue it, guys. Because I'm telling you right now, when you guys leave here, you're going to have all this stuff. You're going to have this, man, my kids, man, I got to worry about my kids. Well, you weren't worried about your kids when you were trying to get put in prison, and you weren't very useful to your kids when you were in prison. So come out here, build your legacy, build what you're doing, and let your kids migrate towards you and be something for your kids. It was the hardest thing for me to do. I love my babies, man. My babies were 7 and 8 when I got out. Now I have 6 grandkids. I mean, so they already been married and all this kind of stuff and have careers and own businesses and all this kind of stuff. And so that was really hard for me to get out and not just say, hey, come into my life, to my daughter. My daughter's like, hold the fuck on, dude. Hold the fuck on. You were gone for 17 years of my life. I went through all this abuse and all this other shit, all this time without you. And so I had to say, okay, hold on a minute. My time was put on standby, and now I have to get out and I have to be on everybody else's time. But guys, if you get out and this loved one that you thought you guys meshed with and all this stuff is the one that you're going to be rubbing elbows with every day, if that one's taking you down, you have to be able to walk away. So I call it a love-hate exercise in my own mind, right? Because you know, I deal with, I have a stepson. He's 11 years old. His dad's a drug addict. I've hired him at a couple of my companies. I've tried to build this man up. He's a great framer. He's a great drywaller. He's done a lot of stuff for my property services business. He's just a turd, guys. And I had to sit down with that 11-year-old the other day and do this love-hate thing. You know, who do you hate the most? And he doesn't believe in hate. He actually told me, Pops, I don't use the word hate because that's the way he's been raised. But he said if I had to dislike somebody, it's this person, it's some teacher. I was like, okay, whatever, dude. Not to go in. I said, well, who do you love the most? He loves his dad the most. I said, can you walk away from your dad if he's no good for you? And he thought about it for a minute. He said, well, if he was causing me harm and this and that, I said, do you believe he's causing you harm? He said, well, he does tell me stuff that he doesn't follow through with. That was the biggest thing. So I'm going to segue into your word, right? 11-year-old says he tells me stuff that he doesn't follow through with. So let's not put ourselves in that position, guys. Don't get out and say, I gotta have my kids in my life, I gotta have my kids, and be all active in your kids' life, and then not actually be able to, because you're building, be able to be in their lives, or be able to be in other people's lives, relationships, exes, all that kind of stuff. You know, I got into this whole thing, like who you're gonna hang out with. So I try to hang out with people I want to be like, guys. Like and I know that sounds weird, right? Because it seems like you have an ulterior motive. Well, you do, right? You're building your life. If I hang out with a guy that does nothing with his life all day, it's either one or two things. He's either going to start doing something with his life, or I'm going to stop doing things in my life. Because that's just the way it works. Otherwise, what do we have in common? So guys, you know, back to the guy that was going to move in with this guy that we know and all this stuff, and the guy's, I feel it's no good for him. Although I love that guy too, by the way. I walked away from him. I walked away from him in his lowest moment because he didn't take my first offer to help him. You know, the guy owned a business, and this was before I had ever bought a business. I said, let me buy your business out so you can get on your feet, and pride wouldn't allow him to do it. He kept doing his thing, lost everything, lost the business. And I was bummed because I liked his business. It was a neat business, and it was something that we talked about when we were on the yard together, and he did it. And I wanted to keep it alive. I was actually going to keep it named the same name because I thought it was cool. But so be around people you want to be like, guys. Get out and just say, like, you know, be able to tell a guy, I don't want to hang out with you. Transparency, guys. I don't want to hang out with you because you're doing this, this, and this. It doesn't align with where I'm going. It's discipline, guys, and it's courage. Truth is courage. You know, truth is courage. Hey, I can't make it to that get-together because I'm working. I can't make it to that get-together because I don't feel comfortable being around all those people drinking. Truth is courage, guys. Truth is like standing up in the bathroom and saying, come on in here. That's what it is. That's what it is, guys. Because there ain't nothing more true than hand-to-hand combat, right? But all of us have stood in the bathroom and said, what's up? What's up? We've all done it. But people don't want to come out here and tell the truth with words, right? You don't want to say, I don't want to be with you anymore because during my prison sentence, I became this, and you're still that. People don't have the courage to stop that, right? Who's in a situation like that right now? Who's finding themselves in a situation like that right now where you're like, even though you're fresh out of prison and you're being talked down to and all this stuff, you still feel like you have more growth than the person that you left behind? Who feels like that? See? It's not, look, I got out with the intention of not being with a woman for 1 year, right? Tough. All right, it's tough. I got with my wife a month after I got out. So, but my intention was to have discipline behind it. So I went into it with the intention to have discipline in what I was doing, right? Not to just be a degenerate, hey guys, not to just be a degenerate and just go into things willy-nilly and just have a relationship, because that's easy to do, guys. Anybody can do it. I watched my brother-in-law do it last night with a girl he didn't even know. You know, you guys met my brother-in-law. Yeah. I don't want to put him on blast, but I mean, so look, you know, I put in here family's important. Family is important, guys, but family can be the #1 cause of you guys not getting where you want to go. Because you know what families like to do? Love you to death. They like to love you all the way to death. I've heard of moms freaking driving guys to get heroin. I've heard of just crazy shit. Crazy shit. And then I've had moms cry on my shoulder and say, I gave him that last $20 that he killed himself with before he fucking smoked that pill. You know? I felt the same way when I hired my son, and then he overdosed. You know, I gave him his first paycheck. He overdosed. I got a picture of it on my phone. I keep it on my phone of my girl that answers my phone at my business with my company truck in the background, and my son's blue on the ground because he got his paycheck the night before and he was overdosed all the way dead. So I keep that picture in there for a reason, guys, because it's not my fault. And it's not my fault, but I want to be reminded that it's okay to not love your people to death or not be loved to death. If you find somebody telling you, it's okay, I mean, all you did is drink and punch me in the face. No, it's not fucking okay, guys. And don't allow somebody to talk to you like that. Don't allow a motherfucker to lie to you like that. It's not fucking okay, guys. Okay, so, you know, I talked about all the processes, and I think you guys, I beat it up. you guys, so I'm not gonna go over processes, because I think you guys understand, if you guys do the same thing every day, if you're growing from it, then it's a good process. If you're not growing from it, it's a bad process, and change it, you know, that's pretty simple. So, you know, I put, you know, just, I put a little reminder in here about, like, becoming the best version of yourself for your kids. Because who's got kids, first of all? Because I know, like, criminals, we like to bang and we like to have kids and shit. So, like, a lot of us have kids out of wedlock and all that kind of stuff. And and a lot of us have kids, like, where we don't even know the girl in some cases and this and that. Here's what I think. Here's what I think about relationships and kids, right? Be the best version of yourself. For relationships, number one, if I'm fresh out of prison, I'm like, okay, I want to be with you. If that chick wants to be with me, fuck her. You know why? Because that's not who I'm going to be in fucking 7 years, obviously, right? You guys are looking at me right now. I want the chick that wants to be with this guy, right? You get what I'm saying? So don't jump into anything, because then if you are a grower, if you do progress, you're going to outgrow that person, because that person's been out here doing life. So think about that for a minute. Does everybody understand? Who doesn't understand what I'm trying to say there? If you guys get with the first train friggin' smoking, well, guess what? If you guys want to grow, you'll outgrow that person. So be strategic in what you do, guys. Like, pick the person that you feel's way too freaking good for you, right? Give you something to work for. Give you something to take pride in, you know. And I know this is like kind of like taboo to talk about, because you're talking about people and how good they are. Of course you are, because the good people around you will make you good. The good people around you will make you good. I was working for my brother for a long time. He's not the best person for me to be around. I had to walk away from him after 5 years of working for him. It devastated him, guys. I haven't really talked to him since, because he was devastated. I was his number one guy, and I was his brother. He used to come to prison and tell me, I feel like a part of my body is missing with you in here. That's how close me and my brother were. I walked away from him, and because it was unhealthy, and he's the person in this world I love the most, and I walked away from him. Now I live a great life, you guys. I wake up every day. I do not regret that decision. He's going to grow from it. It might take time. It might take till we're 60. You know, he last week turned 48. I'm 49, and we're really close in age. We grew up freaking battling through some poverty and stuff together. And so those kind of battles, when you're battling with people, they tend to be, till the wheels fall off situations. But you can't be till the wheels fall off. Fuck the frame scraping and all that shit, guys. That's not a thing, guys. Don't go till the frame scraping. Fuck that. Get the fuck away from those people, man, before the frame starts scraping. You get what I'm saying? You know, get away from them. Get away from them. Grow. So I'll go into a little bit. So part of that dating and that thing with your kids, you know, getting your kids in front of you. Don't get in a rush to have your kids on the weekend if you can't even do anything with your kids on the weekend. Don't be in a rush to get with your kids on the weekend right after you get out of prison if your mind's on fucking, God, I gotta get some money. Why? Why would you do that? You being distracted with needing money, needing a place to live, needing this, needing that, needing this is no different than you being distracted with drugs and alcohol. It's the same fucking thing. Like, just get your shit together, guys. Get your shit together, have your little apartment or whatever the case may be. Have your sober living house and get your, you know, where they let kids come in on the weekends. Whatever it is, guys. Whatever it is, look, make the best of it, but be prepared, guys. Bring the kids in and say, okay, hey, here's my room, this and that. Have something to tell them about. Be able to be all the way 100 with them while you're with them. So that means financially, guys. That means physically. You guys know how I feel about that. Listen, all of them, everything's important. Financials, physical, fitness, your spirituality, what you believe in. You got to believe in something. Make it you. If you don't have a God or whatever, make it you. That's what I've done. You know, I have my own belief system. It's a mixture of every single religious book I read while I was in prison, and I read them all. And I took the good from every single one of them, and I implement those things. And there's a lot of walking away from the people you love in those books. There's a lot of being the best guy on the mountain in those books, right? Why are you the best guy on the mountain? Because you're a leader. Because you're somebody that those kids coming in that sober living house, they need to see that you're all the way 100. Wide-eyed, look at them in the eyes. Look at them in the eyes and saying real shit, guys. Because so much we get all prideful and we're like, we want to say, you don't ever want to go to the Pinta or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Fuck all that, guys. How about get down on the floor with them and fucking do some baby talk with them or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like swallow your fucking pride and be, I got videos, I don't know who follows me and my wife on Facebook, but you'll see some stupid shit coming from me with my little 5-month-old. It's fucking stupid. But listen, guys, I could be sitting there fucking, hey, little fucking, and I did, the other day I put a little bandana on him all fucking low, like I used to wear my bandana and shit when I was on my Harley and shit. And I was like, looks just like me. And I fucking snatched it. I took a picture and then snatched it up. I was like, that's the lifestyle I don't want him to live. But at the same time, guys, I'm like having fun with this. I have nothing else going on but him. Like when I'm home, I've turned everything off. I have nothing else going on. Vice versa of that, when I'm at work, I have nothing else going on but work. Very important, guys, to remember that. Don't be at work saying, this fucking bitch won't leave me alone, or fucking, this dude won't quit calling me. If he won't quit calling you and you ask him to stop, fuck him. He's done. Right? Because you're trying to work. You're trying to build you. He don't give a fuck because he keeps calling you. Right? So, guys, one of the other things I put, don't just shack up because it's easy. Don't leave here and shack up because it's easy. Hey, this is easy, I don't have to make any phone calls. Weigh it all, guys. Weigh it all. Even if you have somebody, who in here is dating somebody now? Who's got girlfriends, boyfriends, all that stuff? Now, look. I fucking 100% promote grabbing your Bonnie, grabbing your Clyde, right? Getting that going, right? Getting that relationship going. That's part of being out here being human. We need it, guys. A lot of people really need it. If you don't need it, there's other problems. There's because humans need it. Like it's a thing.
Needy.
The deal is though, if you need it so bad that you'll make bad decisions to do it, or you'll make a bad decision while doing it, well then that's a whole nother problem, guys. And you guys have to recognize that. Am I just going into this because I have no control, or is this the best thing I can be doing at this time? And you should ask yourself about that in everything you do. Is this the best thing I can be doing with my time right now? Is this the best person to be doing it with? So guys, be careful of what you do leaving here. And the reason I had to come back, I talked to Speedy about it. I said, man, I want to come back because there's some things that I've done that I know kept me out of prison. And one of those things is I could have gotten out to a bunch of different places, guys. A bunch of different places that would have been a lot easier than living in my brother's spare room. Because my brother's freaking hard guy to live with, He's just a very judgmental, very hard guy to live with. I love him, but that's his personality. On top of that, his wife at the time was extremely OCD. I mean, I step on the carpet, she's looking to see how many carpets didn't stand back up, that kind of shit, you know what I mean? So like, keep in mind though, when you get out of prison, you forget to shut doors. When you guys get into your regular life, you'll realize they used to follow me around and take pictures of the doors that I left open. Why? Because we didn't shut any fucking doors in there, right? So the fridge would be open. It was hilarious. The fridge would be open. The cabinets would be open. The door on the company truck would be open all night. Like the front door would be open, like to their house, and they're like, Kenny, you don't shut any fucking doors. And then not only that, we don't shut water off. Because we all got metered faucets in there. You just push the button and it shuts off on its own. So they're like following me around, shutting off water and shit too. I do it with my employees that I pull straight out of prison. I'm like, dude, you guys left the water on down there. You guys got to get over that. You know what I mean? But I understand it. So part of it is just slowing down, guys. Just slowing down, saying, okay, fresh out of prison. I'm doing this. Normal people do it this way, and you got to try to acclimate yourself. I thought it was hilarious. Going through that because it is funny. You don't even think about that shit, right? You just walk in the cell and they shut it behind you, and you're like, and then they take the cuffs off or whatever, and you just, that's it. You push the button and it fucking all does it all itself, and man, it's an easy life, really. I mean, you don't have to fucking do nothing, So 3 things that I and I talked about this a little bit, guys. If you're not thinking about these 3 things before you leave here, your chance, if you don't have all 3 of these things when you leave here, your chances of survival, staying out of prison, are 0. 100%, guys. So I want you to listen to these things very carefully. And it's pretty simple, you guys all know it. Transportation, a place to sleep, and a job.
Yeah.
You do not need anything else. I know everybody thinks, you don't need anything else. You don't need vapes, you don't need freaking this, you don't need that, you don't need, if you have, whatever clothes you have right now is enough to get to work. You don't need anything except for those things, right? Because the state of buying food, you can get the food stamps 90 days. They gave me mine for a year. And guess what? I spent those motherfuckers because I was buying a bunch of protein shit. I needed that shit. You know what I mean? So I used it. But so you don't need that. Don't be too proud to walk in DES and get everything that you got coming as a person fresh out of prison. And I'm sure they're walking you guys through that. I won't get into that. But so for transportation, I put safe, reliable, right? Easy access to it. If it's a car, then that's fine, guys. If it's a car, then that's fine. Just use the car. If it's a bike, be fine with that too. If it's a bus route, try to make it easy for yourself. You know, I had a guy working for me. He said it takes me 2.5 hours to get here. I said, go get another job. Go get another job. Because why the fuck would you spend 5 hours a day on a bus? Don't do it, guys. Don't do it. You need that time. You need that time to yourself, guys. You need that 5 hours to build. You can't be doing something for 5 hours that does nothing for you. Don't ever do that ever in your life. Don't ever do anything for 5 hours a day that doesn't make you better. Okay? You guys understand that? If it's 2.5 hours to go to a job that most of you guys, in all honesty, are going to get jobs between 16 and 20 bucks an hour, right? I'm just being realistic, guys. 16 to 20 bucks an hour. You cannot spend 5 hours a day, 25 hours a week, fucking on a bus. You could be spending 20 of those 25 hours on the weekend or whatever, or after work, working to double that paycheck. Okay? So don't do that, guys. Don't inconvenience yourself. Don't put yourself in a trick bag. Remember we used to use the word trick bag? Oh, that's a trick bag. Well, it is a trick bag. You're getting to work, but it's taking you 5 hours of your day to get there. You can't do that, guys. You can't spend 25 hours a week doing that. So make it drama-free. Make the ride drama-free. So if the ride is fucking some fucking chick that's a fucking pain in the ass, ride the bus. You know, ride the bus. So I wanted to talk about. I made a note. A guy came in here, a young guy. Gabe came into my business and interviewed. He got. I don't know how he got there, but he didn't even tell me all that. Right? He was on time, and you know what on time is? Way fucking early. That's on time, guys. So he came in and interviewed. He met my office staff. You know, we're not fucking all. You know, we're not wearing suits and shit. You know, so we're not fucking judgy. Everybody in there slung the fuck down. Everybody in there has been in prison. Am I right? Yeah. And even the guy running the whole company, besides me, the guy that runs that whole show, slung down, you know, did 10 years, the whole thing. And I think he had a great interview, guys. And I'll tell you that he looked me in the eyes throughout the process. He answered all my questions. He asked questions. Because why wouldn't you? You're fucking going to work for them people. Like, hey, is there a bunch of guys, like, I don't remember some of the questions, but you know, as we sit and talk about it, it would come to me, but why not ask, hey, what do you guys do a year? Ask the company, what do you guys do a year? I don't know, fucking 9 million. He didn't ask that question, but ask them. Okay, how many employees do you guys have? What's the average pay for the position I'm applying for? Okay, oh, so I can get to $22 an hour? Yeah, if you bust your ass. So now you know what you're going into, guys. You know what I mean? And he asked a lot of questions. He asked all, you know, we're nervous, right, getting out of prison, so he's asking, you know, like, he wants to know that he has a place to fucking land, right? Did I give you some good options?
A bunch, yeah.
You know what I did, guys? I didn't hire him. I sent him to a bigger, better company that pays more, is what I did. And I hope, if he doesn't get the position, I'm gonna hire him, but just so you know, we've already talked about you. So I just want you guys, I want to be clear here. When I talked about my network, I immediately called somebody as soon as he left my office. He called that person, and you interviewed, right?
Yeah, well, I put in the application.
Okay, it's a way bigger corporation.
Why'd you waste your time doing that, Kenny?
What's that?
Why'd you waste your time doing that?
It's not a waste of time,
Right.
number one.
Right.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you what. He's gonna go there and he's gonna learn some really cool shit, right? And that's a $150 million a year company, by the way. That's what my company's gonna be in 10 years. So when I have a $150 million company, we talked about this before, what do I need? People that have worked for $150 million companies. So if he goes off and he figures out all the secrets to working for and maybe even fucking running a portion of a $150 million company, how does that benefit me in the long run? Not only was I able to help out one of my brothers, one of my prison brothers, one of the people that society says shouldn't even fucking be out here getting to do stuff, right? Like we should always not have our rights and always not have this and always not be able to vote and lock them motherfuckers up forever and throw away the key. I get to help that fucking cycle and I get to prove to the world, you know, the world that's looking down on guys like Gabe and me and all the rest of you guys, I get to help that fucking process fucking keep going. And guess what? We get to slowly keep taking over, buying companies. But he's gonna go to a company and he's gonna learn the right way, because I'm building my company. That company's been built, one of the fastest growing companies in the state, right? It's doing, I think it'll do 150 million this year. But you can ask them in your interview, hey, what did you guys do last year? And you know what? They'll answer the question, dude, because they're so fucking proud that they made 150 million, right? So that's pretty simple, guys. That you guys. So the place to live, pretty simple, safe, drug-free, guys, drama-free, close to work. Just make it simple, man. I was fucking around with Cisco the other day. He's like, man, I want to do this, I want to do that. I was like, where are you going to be working? He said, I don't know. He said, but if I do this, I'll be around everybody, right? I'll be around all the different bus, the light rail, fucking all that stuff. Smart thinking. I was like, yeah, do that. Do that. Get in a place right over there. You know what I mean? So, look, go to a company that's fucking, that you can ask questions to. So get the pay that you want, guys. You guys know that you, like right now you have 30 years experience, but you're fresh off the block. You got to learn all the new shit. You're a $16 to $20 an hour guy. I don't want to put limits on you guys though, because I hired a guy fresh out of prison. He did $200,000 his first year. So I'm not putting limits on you guys, but don't have higher expectations. I had a guy walk in my office the other day, fresh out of prison. He heard about me. I talked to him on the phone, brought him in. He asked for $32 an hour. I said, for what? He said, well, that's what my last company was paying me. And I said, when? He said, well, I got laid off a couple weeks ago. I worked for them for a week. And I said, well, can you show me your last check? Can you show me the check stub? I want to see where they were paying you $32 an hour for 2 years experience in AC. They're not. That's not happening. So I told him, I said, look, I remember you. I remembered him from the yard. He did some tattoos on some buddies of mine. I said, no, I'm gonna give you 25 bucks an hour. He showed up one day. So fuck him, right? I fired him. He showed up one day and the next day his foot was hurt. I said, that's not what I hired. Because
he's so hurt.
Yeah, so look, my fucking foot hurts. You know, so fuck you. So guys, I put some notes in here about who do you listen to. What should their qualifications be? I don't know. Like, don't ask me about being out of prison for 8 years, because I don't know. I haven't got there yet. February 28th will be my 8 years. We'll have a conversation about it. I'll let you know. So, it's that serious, right? Don't fucking go to the guy you're working with and say, how do you get a raise around here if that guy's been there 20 years and still making $16? Don't fucking talk to that guy. Let that guy rot away in his own fucking miserable existence, and you guys go to the guy that you want to fucking take his position. Everybody at my company fully understands that my position is up for grabs, including the ownership of the company. Every single person every time I have a meeting, I say, who's ready to step up and take the company? It's kind of a neat fucking game that we're playing, right? Because there are two guys that have gotten ROC licenses, they've gotten LLCs. We started a company, a little rental company together on the side. He's eyeballing my desk. He likes my office. He goes up there and he's like, man, can I keep the antique tools hanging on the wall and all this shit? You've been in my office. Yeah, but you're not keeping the pictures of my family on the wall, So we have those conversations. I love that. Why? Because I get to walk away from it if he buys it from me, or if he runs it, or if we become partners. I get to pack the desk up and pack that shit up and go home. That's what you guys want, right? You guys want to start at $16 an hour and in 10 years be looking down at the fucking empire you built, because from 16 to ownership, you had to have built a huge empire underneath you guys to do it. And it's as simple as just being confident in yourself. Like, let me ask you something, because people think chicks aren't fucking badasses. Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you build this empire for $16? Do you think you can, honestly?
Absolutely.
Let me tell you something about women in business, guys. Women do 90% of what they say they're going to do in business.
Wow.
So that's a real number, guys. That's a real number coming from, I was listening to an interview with two of the most powerful business people in the world on the way over here. And one of the things they talk about is that, but women are touted as the best business people in the world. Because you know what men do? They make these big old huge goals because they're freaking all high in testosterone and they're like, fuck yeah, we're gonna make $7 billion this year. The company does 7 million. You know what I mean? Like because men aren't realistic, right? So of course you can freaking do that. Of course you can build an empire. Me and my wife have a friend who started this little, IV therapy thing and all this and that. And she does a couple $1 million a year. Just her, one person, one employee, makes $2 million a year. It's fucking nuts, right? So and she's married to a convict that owns his own company too. He works for me as well. But he went off and started his own thing, and that's what we like, right? We want them to work for us, go start their own thing, and maybe give us an opportunity in the future, right? So we're not mad about it. We're always growing each other, right? If you get out, you come to work for me, you're like, Kenny, I gotta go, I gotta start my own thing, I've been doing this too long. I can't just make what I'm making. Because if you work for somebody, you're just gonna make what you make, guys. You're just gonna make what you make, right? If you work for yourself, we talked about it before, if you don't own something, something owns you. And that's the way it is, guys. So when you get out of here and you go and you find that company, ask them, what's my growth potential? Don't go to a fucking place that doesn't have an answer for that, guys. Walk out of there. Well, it's just this position. Fuck that, guys. Don't do that to yourselves. We wasted too much time. Who's got 5 years or more wasted? Who's got 10 years or more? Okay, so there's hundreds of years locked behind bars, time wasted in this room. Hundreds of years of wasted time. Go ahead.
It depends on how you look at what you were doing in there though. If you were actually going through the classes, getting into the trades in there, doing something with your life, it wasn't a waste.
I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that because, look guys, I went in there, I got my GED on the border of Mexico for years before I went to prison, drinking with my dad. My dad's like, you're gonna get a GED if you're living down here in Yuma with me or whatever, so we did that. But I went to school in prison. I did all my after school in prison. I went in there, I got me a little business degree. When we were doing the Rio Salado stuff early on, you could get a degree and they're really easy. It's a struggle now because my last degree was in substance abuse, and we could go through all the things that I could have done with that, and I could have made $18 an hour for the rest of my life, or I could have used what I learned in the business and the sociology stuff, where it's actual application, stuff that you guys actually do, in the world. You know what I mean? The only solace that I had about me doing the drug training and all that stuff, the substance abuse counseling training, was that I'm actually qualified to fucking teach it, because I'm a drug addict. You know what I mean? And so, we were talking about this the other day. I think me and Speedy were talking about it, where the best thing that they ever did to these places here, New Freedom and stuff like that, is peer support. The worst thing they ever did is peer support too, and I'll get into that, guys. So, because I want you guys to be very careful who you listen to. So, like I said, guys, don't come and ask me about 8 years, right? Hey, how'd you stay out of prison 8 years? Just be smart, guys. I haven't been out of prison 8 years. Like, don't even ask me how I'm gonna do it, because I'm just gonna tell you I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, right? So if you guys leave here with anything, just understand, guys, that process we talked about, smile, just keep doing it, right? Who's been kind of doing that since the last time we talked? Who's been having some fucked up days and just smiling through them and just been like, hell yeah. I knew you would, because I saw your reaction to that when we were talking. And so, look, the females are outnumbered in here, but you know what? The females in this room are watching every freaking step of what we're saying, right? Why? Because they're 90%. They do everything by the book. They do everything accurately and reasonably. so us as guys, we need to understand that we don't, guys. We don't. We go into things with our, and don't take offense to this, ladies, but we just put our balls on the table and we think that we're gonna fucking just get through with that. It's not gonna happen, guys. Out here, you can't smash your boss and say, give me a promotion. Although me and my brother did trash an office twice to the tune of about $6,000 in damage. So it did happen, but that's stuff that we're uncovering, that we were uncovering at the time. But you can't do that, guys. You can't do that. It's not like I know my brother's not gonna call the cops. He might call the ambulance, you know what I mean? But he ain't gonna call the cops, So the thing is out here, this is the hardest thing for me out here, guys, is just going with what my boss says, right? Because I still have a boss, by the way, guys. I own some companies, but I still work for a company too. I still get W-2. And that's the genius of what I've done. And I'm not sitting here tooting my own horn, but it works fucking great. And I'm actually doing it with my employees. I just had an employee the other day. We decided to freaking part ways because as he was working for me, he took my advice and started an HVAC company on the side. And now he's got his own little HVAC company. He's got a little employee. And out of greed and everything else, because that's what starts happening when you start seeing the money you can make. He was gonna pull some of my guys, and my guys said, hey, he's asking me to go to work for him, and I said, you should go to work for him. If you're having any thoughts at all about going to work for him, you should go to work for him and help him out. But my advice to those people were, and I didn't give this advice, I want them to look, nobody left, but my advice to you guys is, don't go on the first thing smoking. Not with relationships, not with jobs, not with promotions, not with your buddy, hey, I started this hat company, look, it's Hard Yard Hats, and we're gonna sell them all over the fucking place. Well, what's your plan, bud? Well, I don't know, we're just gonna fucking, stand outside of car shows and shit and sell them. What the fuck? And I'm gonna work for you? Well, yeah, you're gonna sell them, and I'm just gonna make up the designs. What the fuck? No, fuck you. No, don't do that, guys, don't do that. That was the name of my hat company when I first got out. We're going to be in production here pretty soon, Hard Yard Hats. So, but I'm always into something. So I'm always into something. So but I would never pull a guy and say, hey, fucking, I need you to print these hats. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I would never do that. Instead, I'm fucking talking to a company that's for sale that prints hats. That's what I'm doing right now. They want $1 million. I'm not going to pay it. So we're going back and forth right now. So look, guys, it's all about who you're around, right? Because if you come around a guy like me, what's funny is somebody posted something on Facebook the other day about me and my wife having a joint Facebook account. I never thought anything of it. I'm like, that's my baby. Share every fucking thing. When we post shit for our fucking loved ones and our people. Somebody put nice joint Facebook account. Who cheated? And I thought about that for a minute. I was like, that's what the world is, man. The world wants it to be that your old lady cheated on you. The world wants it to be that you're gonna get fired if you don't show up for work. They don't know that you've already talked to your boss about freaking taking those days off. But it's none of their business. But in their mind, they're like, this motherfucker never shows up for work, They don't know, one of my guys, hardly, he misses a lot of days. I've had some guys, I've heard whispers of people talking shit about him. He's got terminal cancer. They don't even know. Because he doesn't come to work saying, I got terminal cancer. He's fucking been doing plumbing for 35 fucking years, and he doesn't say a fucking word about it. Guess what? He used to be a correction officer. He was a correction officer when I was on the yard in Florence. And fucking me and him fucking started chopping up. He said, you don't remember me, but I remember you, because he was a new fucking, new CO, and he was nervous to be there, and so those guys fucking were watching everything, and he told me that. And now he works for me. And I love that, man. I love that because it's a different perspective. But nobody knows that he's got terminal cancer, man. That he's had a bunch of shit removed and all this stuff. And people are the motherfucker, I gotta do his jobs and this and that. Instead of saying, I want to do this fucking guy's jobs, man. He's fucking struggling. His family's going through all this shit. They're gonna lose their daddy. They're gonna lose their husband. Their family's gonna lose a brother. This and that. So the world's built up like that, guys. And I, for a split second, I got a little. The guy asked me too if I got triggered, and I denied it, but I did get triggered a little bit, and I'll tell you why I got triggered by that comment. Me and my wife don't have undisciplined things in our life like cheating. I don't take steroids, never will, right? I'm not gonna fucking speed to fucking get to somewhere first. If I speed, it's not because I'm trying to get there first or anything. It's because I feel good and I want to speed, and I got a truck that fucking I can speed in and I'm willing to pay the ticket. You know, I'm not gonna cheat in this life at all. I'm not gonna fucking lie to my boss and say I did something I didn't. You know, like that's undisciplined behavior, guys. And so as you guys get out of here, and as you guys start fucking seeing what the real world does bring to us, because you guys are gonna have a different perspective now, because you guys know damn good well who believes that you can do the things I'm saying that you can do it. Does everybody truly believe it though? So for the guys that aren't raising their hands, like you guys don't believe that it's possible? So here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. I didn't believe it either. And if somebody was standing up here, I'd be a skeptic, right? Because I'm a facts guy and everything else. And so I like to see cut sheets and dashboards, and I like to see fucking all the numbers. And I go through the numbers with all my guys all the time, and they're to nauseam. They don't even want to hear it anymore. If you guys believe that you can do something, and you guys are willing to put all these distractions, X's and all the bullshit aside, if you guys are really just, you know, I was thinking about it. I did a little run. I was talking to old boy about it just now, about my run. Did 5 miles the other day in the heat, just because I like to run in the heat, guys. It's a little more challenging, and it's something that I can keep my head in my head when I'm running in the heat. And it's hard, man. It's in this humidity, but I've had this shit where I can't even hardly walk. So I was like, you know what? I got some X-rays done. Noticed that there was no brakes or anything. I said, well, if there's no brakes, it's not broke, you know. So I'll run, pain or not, right? Because it's just pain at this point. So I ran through it. Then I got home and I was like, well, if I stop now, what do I have to talk about on fucking Sunday? If I stop at a run, what's a fucking run? Meditation? Like, that's not a workout. So I put in a fucking 20 sets of fucking bench, and during it, I was the only one in my gym, so there was no help coming. Everybody else was sleeping. My wife works nights, that kind of thing. And I was going a little bit heavier than I normally do, and I thought, if I turn my head and look for somebody to come, it ain't gonna change anything. They're not coming. Because I couldn't get it up. And I was like fucking almost about to just say fuck it and let it fall on my chest and then try to squirm out of it. And everybody's seen videos of it and everything else. Well, look, guys, if you guys do every day like they're not coming, just push through. Don't turn your head. Stay exactly where you're going, guys. Stay exactly where you're going. Keep pushing. When it starts burning, what are we in, guys? An actual physical contraction phase, guys. When you start feeling it burn, that's when you're getting the most out of it. And that's the same with every fucking thing you do. You're in the middle of a test. You're like, this is the part of the test I didn't really study for. You're in a contraction phase, guys. Pull deep. Pull in your mind deep. Fucking get that mindset that you're going to have the answer for that question, right? I've taken a bunch of tests where I'm like, what the fuck am I even doing here? I don't know any of these answers. And I fucking slowed my thinking down. I said, ain't nobody gonna come and give me the answers either, because it's a one-man test. And that's what this is, guys. When you leave here, these are all your brothers, sisters, and all that shit. That's fine, guys. You guys, some of you guys are shacked up together here, and that's great, right? You guys are cellies. That's great. That's dead when you guys leave here. That's dead. There is no team lifing, right? That's what you do when you get married, you move in together. That's the team lifing. When you leave here, guys, push until you rack it. Like, don't fucking look for somebody to come, because they're not coming, guys. Nobody's gonna be like, oh, fuck it. My wife's not doing anything. I'm gonna fucking go help fucking this guy with all the tattoos on his head. They're not gonna do that for you, bro. They're not gonna do that for you. But you can do it for yourself. You can do it for yourself. And look, anybody in this room that fucking thinks that I'm just sitting up here blowing off steam, dude, I could be fucking literally laying in bed with my wife right now. I don't have to fucking come here, guys. I don't have to come here. You know, I talk to these guys about paying me for what I do, because another facility pays me to talk to them. But they're not my brothers from the Arizona Penitentiary. They're not guys and women that fucking need me. They don't need me, right? Because they haven't done what I've done. You guys have. You guys have been through what I've been through. And if any of you guys take any of this advice or listen to any of this advice and go back to prison, you just didn't apply it. Because those three things, if you remember those three things, job, place to sleep, and transportation, right? You just need a ride back home so you can go to sleep. You just need a place to go to work. You need a way to get there. It's fucking very simple. That's all I had, guys. I had a shitty ass little fucking car that my brother bought me, barely ran, but it got me there. Parked it in front of the shop. I used to ride with a guy, he was training me. You know, the whole thing. And that's how it started out, guys. I never did any plumbing, except for some fucking shit when I was a kid. I never did any plumbing until fucking 2016, right? I just bought a plumbing company, own an HVAC company, never did HVAC, right? Own a concrete company, never did fucking precast concrete. I own the company. Listen, guys, I haven't paid a dime for any of that shit. Every fucking guy in here, if you came to me right now and you said, hey, I just overheard this old guy over here in the corner fucking talking about selling his company, he hasn't put it on the market yet, we'll buy it. 100% we'll buy it, and your paycheck will be $10,000 a week from that. You know, from a little $1 million company that didn't seem to be doing anything. And that's what it is. Me and Speedy talked about, I said, you know, there's a company in and of itself, right? There's a company right here, right? Because you guys are all gonna leave here, and you guys can scatter about the world or whatever, or you guys can stay as a fucking, as a strong network of companies and be this intermingled fucking mass of fucking service industry people, framing and all this stuff. All this stuff can happen. You get what I'm saying?
That's a job the other day.
Yeah, it's dude, listen guys, it's one of those things that freaking, you know, it's one of those things that fucking, even this facility probably doesn't think about much, right? This facility in this room right here, if you guys all scattered about and you guys all fucking started doing your business, and all you guys went to work for, what is there, 60 people in here, whatever it is, 60 people go out in 60 different directions, and you guys all meet somebody that wants to sell their business. Let's just say. We fucking get together, and us, let's see me and guys fucking have a hair up our ass to fucking pull some fucking people that fucking have money, and we buy all 60 of those companies, right? All of you guys now are business owners, life's changed, and we have this big old conglomerate of fucking, and start taking over fucking, and it happens all the time. It happens all the time. The largest plumbing company in Arizona just got bought by the person I just signed a contract with. He paid $560 million for it. I gave him $250,000 of my dollars, so I could be a partner with him. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I fucking give a guy $250,000 so I can get a part of his fucking little fucking $4 billion fucking company? You know what I mean? It's just smart, guys. So make smart decisions. Know that you guys can, guys. Know that you can. Who here has owned a company before? Owned a company, licensed, paid insurance, all that kind of stuff. We talked about it, JT. It's not an overnight thing, right? It's not an overnight thing. It's something that if you make good decisions all the way through your trade, you can become that, right? So you guys are starting ground zero. So whatever you guys have learned, it was more than you knew before you came in this class. Day one on the job, guess what? You're gonna get fucking inundated with stuff you're gonna learn about the company, about how they like to do business. Probably nothing about the actual trade you're doing. Maybe some little tricks by some old guy that knows shit, you know? But you're not gonna learn about your trade on day one. Then you're gonna get more comfortable, you're gonna start learning all the rules of the community, because we gotta abide by the rules of the community being the company, right? Here at New Freedom, the community is New Freedom, right? You guys have a bunch of rules here and all that stuff, drug tests and classes and all that shit. And you know what? Rules are a fucking pain in the ass, but I like going into a place that has signs. Like, I carry a gun everywhere I go. And I like when I walk up to a place that says no firearms allowed here, because guess what? I just don't go in there. Fuck them. Fuck them if they don't let me carry my gun in there. I don't want to go in there, so I just don't go in there. But I really can appreciate the rules of their community. They don't want me in there, you know? And like in the same sense, I walk up to a place that says no, and there's not very many in Arizona, but there are some that say no law enforcement allowed in the facility. I ain't eating there either. Fuck them. I want law enforcement around my family, taking care of my family. I pay taxes for that shit. So guys, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, like, there's gonna be rules no matter where you go. There's gonna be fucking parking rules and everything, you know. I'll give you guys a crazy, I bought a Silverado truck in 2018, brand new off the lot. I was like, fuck yeah, I got my clean truck, it's all clean, all this and that. I had the bed liner done, I started doing little shit to it, put some speakers in it, all that stuff. And then I parked at a fucking Popeye's Chicken just to go in and use the bathroom, because I don't go to fast food, you know? So I use the bathrooms there, because I know if I go in there, I'm not buying anything, I'm just using the bathroom. You know, I go to Circle K, I might buy something on the way out, just because that's human habit, right? So, so I go in there, take a piss. My wife actually was in her vehicle waiting on me. We were getting ready to kind of convoy back home from a gathering, you know, or whatever. And I cheated, man. I cheated. I parked in the fucking handicap just because I was in a hurry. Backed out of there and fucking rammed into a car that was moving behind me. Instant karma, man. And I was fucking, you know, it didn't really hurt my truck too much, but it tore the whole fucking door off of that car because he was like kind of. Luckily I got out and I was like, hey, were you on the phone? Like I went right into fucking, you on your phone or something, dude? Like, and it was me, you know, it was me. I backed out without even looking because I was in a hurry, you know? And I was like, and the guy's like, hey, I'm cool if you're cool. And I'm like, you mean you don't have insurance? And he's like, dude, no, it's just like your truck looks cool, man. And it was like, my hitch on my truck had just tore his whole door off. And I was like, so you're cool with that? And I was like, you're all right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. Well, like, he didn't look at my license plate or nothing. And I was like, fuck it, man. You know what? I got out of there, you know, my truck seemed to be fine. I never had any problems with my truck or nothing. But I was breaking the rule of the community, guys. And the community was letting me know in its way, you know, you guys could call it God or the universe or, you know, universal law or whatever it was. Immediately, my truck was in peril, man. And I was like, fuck, my brand new truck. You guys know how we feel like when we get like a watch, right? We're like, and like I scratched this watch at a funeral. I was wearing my watch at a funeral and my wife's, actually it wasn't at a funeral. It was while my wife's grandpa was dying. We were in his room. And I scratched it on his old ass brick wall in his house in Sun City. And you know, he's over there dying. I'm like, fuck, I scratched a fucking $4,000 watch, you know? And I was like, and then now when I looked at it, I'm like, I remember that old motherfucker, and I'm really glad that happened, you know? I'm really glad that it happened because you know what? Although he was an asshole when he was alive and everything else, he went out making everybody feel good about the situation, you know? I mean, I thought, man, that's a fucking good way to do it. Make everybody feel like you're an asshole and then leave them a legacy. That's what he did. And so this reminds me, this little scratch on this watch, reminds me all the time that do what you gotta do for you. Let everybody think you're an asshole the whole way. You know what? That motherfucker left millions of dollars behind that nobody even knew he had. He was just an asshole the whole fucking time. He wouldn't give up any money. He didn't buy anybody anything, didn't show up to birthday parties, didn't send anything to the grandkids, didn't do nothing. Everybody called him an asshole. I fucking drink out of his coffee cup every day too, man. It's got a chip in it. That's how much of a fucking miser he was. He wouldn't even get a new coffee cup. And you know what? I like what he did, so I'm doing it. I'm drinking out of the same coffee cup that he did, so every day I can remember that you do what the fuck you want to do with your life. Whatever you fucking leave behind, let them sort it out. But do you while you're here with good intention. Right? So like do it with good intention. Don't go into starting a business because you just want to have fucking a bunch of money. Don't do that, guys, because you will not succeed that way. Go into getting into a business that my purpose, so you guys know, is generational wealth. Generational wealth meaning when I leave here, my family's okay forever. And you can create that very slowly, methodically, with processes and everything else. You guys can do that. You can leave this place, start a $16 an hour job, and then, you know, I know people that have done it faster than me, you know, but I've always been a slow learner. You know, people have done it faster than me. They can hop right into shit and fucking have $2 or $3 million companies within a year, 2 years. You know, I don't know if you guys know Craig Olson. Craig Olson, you know, me and him hang out quite a bit. Fucking dude's just doing it, dude. He owns a cell phone company, cell phone tower company. Dude's a stud, fucking yoked up. Everything's good in his life, man. Got a great fucking little family. You know what I mean? He's got some cool toys. He brings them out to the ranch all the time, and it's neat because he was the cool guy on the yard, and he's gonna come here in one of these classes, and I'm gonna get him to talk. He's not much of a talker because he's a cool guy, you know. And but I want him to come and talk to you guys because when he does talk, it just means a lot more than a guy like me, like when I'm talking all the time. I'm talking all the time, guys. But that's what's gotten me where I'm at. And Craig, undoubtedly, is his talent to sit back and listen and not talk has gotten him where he's at. So there's not just one way to do it either, guys. You can bull in the china shop like I have, or you can do like like Craig has, and you can kind of let it come to you and fucking, you know what I mean, and do all that kind of stuff. So the last thing I want to talk about, and some of the cool guys and cool chicks are gonna fucking argue this until it happens, but when you leave prison, there's a thing called post-incarceration PTSD. You guys might be going through it now, but this is more of a kind of a atmosphere that's a little bit more like prison than not, because you're around other convicts and it feels good, right? But when you're not around your people, it gets a little bit fucking dicey, guys. And I want to share something a little embarrassing for me, but I'm going to share it with you guys because it's very, very fucking important. We didn't know about this post-incarceration thing until when I got out. I don't know if you guys remember the prison system being sued.
Yeah.
Well, Kirsten Edelbrock is the one that sued him, and I started a nonprofit with her. She's a civil rights attorney. Me and Levi Trethewey started a nonprofit with her when we got out. We had wrote that when we were in business class together. We wrote the nonprofit for recidivism, right? It was to treat convicts fresh out of prison. And we wrote and licensed this ID mapping system, right? And they're selling it in freaking all these other states. I don't know why they won't buy it. Arizona won't buy it, but whatever, you know. Arizona doesn't want you guys to know how to do good because they're a prison state and they make money off us, right? So anyway, we get out, we do this whole thing, and we're going through this process. Well, we started having U of A and the criminal sciences department and the psychology department at ASU. We started sending guys in there straight out of prison, including myself. Did these long, lengthy interviews and all this stuff. And we found out that PTSD and combat vets and PTSD and people getting out of prison are very, very similar, guys. You guys probably didn't even know you had it. Who's been out of prison and back? Who did 2 terms? Okay. All right. So what happens is, if you went back to that hellhole, it had to be something catastrophic, right? Would you guys agree that you fucking definitely didn't go back on purpose? And it was definitely you definitely felt more strongly about not going to prison after you got out than you did before you went? Because before you went, I remember all my uncles, and you know, I don't know if you guys know the legend Stevie P, that's my uncle. You know, he was a high wall jammer and all that cool shit, you know, back before there was Aryan Brotherhoods and all that stuff. Well, Stevie P used to talk about, and his brother Mark used to talk about CB8, and I was like, I want to go to CB8. Like, I was a kid saying that shit, and ain't that fucking cool, is it? I don't know if any of you guys have been to any of the cell blocks in Central or otherwise, but none of them were cool. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that you know, you get into this whole thing where you don't want to go back to prison, but for some reason you do. And so for some reason you think that you need a drink, right? Who drank or did drugs before they went back to prison? Okay, so everybody pretty much that went back to prison drank and did drugs, right? Who drank and did drugs before they went to prison at all? Who in here did drugs and drank, right? Okay. There's only one reason that you need drugs and alcohol other than just the pinky thing, just having a mimosa with your girls or fucking whatever you do, you know, at fucking breakfast or whatever normal people do that drink, right? Because I don't drink normal, I drink it all. You know, I drink it all, I don't care if you get any, you know, that kind of thing. We're not having fun, that's not how it is, right? Same with drugs, I could give a fuck less if you get the pipe or if you get the needle, I don't give a fuck. I'm not there for that, you know? So, and I think all of us can kind of share that sentiment, even though we'll act like we don't. The bottom line is what I'm trying to say is that when you get out and you start going through this, and I'll get to the embarrassing part. So, probably about 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Things were great for me, guys, that first 3 weeks. I had no stresses, like all my spines were paid off, guys. Like a DES was really easy to work with. I got my stuff, my insurance, my access, all that stuff. Everything, there wasn't really any stresses, guys. I was going to work, I was learning shit. I felt really fucking strong about that because I felt like I was really taking it in. My workout was strong. Like I said before, guys, I would wake up in the morning, strap a mask on, a 40-pound vest. I'd run 2 miles to the gym, work out. I'd swim for an hour at the gym and run home. I mean, I was fucking in amazing shape. At that point, I had just met Sherry. So I was like, this little fucking pinup girl that freaking with all the tattoos, and I was like, you know, like I was pretty fucking happy, guys. Pretty happy about every single thing. I wasn't using, I did not tobacco, not anything, guys. And me and my brother used to set up in the morning because I stayed with him, and we had a real, you know, before I'd go to the gym, or when I'd get back to the gym, we'd sit and we'd have a cup of coffee together. And so we were sitting there having that cup of coffee. We wouldn't say a fucking word, guys. We wouldn't say a word. We'd just have that cup of coffee, you know? It was our time. Because we don't need to say anything. Just being there is good. And I broke down in a fucking, not just a fucking, oh, I got a tear coming out of my eye. It was sobbing, uncontrollable, fucking couldn't breathe, crying. Who wants to admit that that's happened to them? And I'm just judging by that many people that's happened to probably twice that many. Because it's not a thing that like we say as men, and we don't talk about crying. But I went into it, and he looked over, and he's just flabbergasted, man. He's like, and my brother's like a fucking stoic. He did time too. He's one of those stoic, like green-eyed monster fucking guys that looks over at you, and he's like, what the fuck, dude? You know, that's what he said. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know why I'm crying. I have no fucking reason whatsoever to be crying right now. But I felt this sense of fucking impending doom on my life. I felt sad, anxious, I felt like everything came in on me at that one moment, guys. Is that what it's felt like for any of you guys?
Yeah.
Seriously, guys. Seriously.
Yeah.
This is the reason I waited to say this at the end, guys, is because this is one of the things, this is that contraction that I talked about in the beginning that sends us back. And I know for a fact because we literally studied it. Like we literally actually studied it with the nonprofit. The nonprofit, she went off to the races and did a bunch of stuff in New Mexico, and she's got a bunch of our artwork and shit in a fucking coffee shop in New Mexico. It's actually pretty cool, my partner. But we went different directions, and I needed to do something else, you know. So that's the only reason why that nonprofit's still running strong and still helping inmates and getting out of prison and stuff like that. And she's a great lady, and she continues to help people every time I make a call. If somebody's sick in there, she goes right at it. So don't think that ended sorely. It's just it wasn't going the direction I wanted it to go. But we took pride in the fact that we found this out about guys, because I've talked to a small group of guys, and I brought my coolest guys in. I brought a guy from West Side City, cool ass fucking gangster, badass motherfucker, whatever. You know, I love him. Grew up with him. I brought two actual members of the Aryan Brotherhood, brothers. Had them in the room, and I had a fucking actual Mau Mau member all in the same room at once, guys. You guys probably don't ever even met a Mau Mau. And if you have, few and far between. They're like freaking zebras with horns, man. You never see them. You never see them anymore because of everything that's happened in the prison system. These are the fucking toughest guys I knew that were out and that would come and see me. And we sat in a room, and I asked them, and unanimously, everybody agreed that they went through this, right? They all agreed that they went through this stuff. And I said, well, what did you guys do? You know, oh, I just smoke a blunt, or I just do this. You're fucking right. That's what we do. That's what you do, and so you just have a beer. You just smoke a blunt. You just do that. You just do this. You just take a pill. You just do a shot. You just do this, right? So, listen, guys. I still, 7 years later, am struggling with it. So don't get impatient with it. This is very important, guys, because you guys, if you haven't gone through it, you will. You will go through it. And let me explain the psychology the best way I can. Who in there was like super fucking laughy at all the cool guys' jokes? None of us were. Why? Because we don't want the cool guys to think they control us, right? So you, even though they're funnier than a motherfucker, you still subdue yourself. Who was, I want to see my mom in there? Nobody was, right? We didn't express these things in there. We didn't do these things in there, guys. We didn't do this. So we were like flatlining for 17 years in my case, a long time in your case. You got held, Chuck Amator. Who knows Chuck Amator? He did 35 fucking years. He came to work for me. He cannot fucking maintain. He cannot maintain. But we got him to the VA. He's living in a house he owns now. You guys would be surprised. I mean, this guy fucking did a lot of fucking time in some really crazy scenarios, guys. And if you guys know Chuck Amator, you guys all know the dude was no joke. And he was, but he got out here and he fucking straight told me, I'm going through that shit you told me about. I told him about it on day one. He called me the day he got out. He found me and found my number. I got a call. He's all, this Chuck Amator. I said, bullshit. You didn't get out. And I told him, last thing I said on the phone, he was on speakerphone with some chick he was dating at the time. And I told him, this is gonna happen and you need to call me. He called me at 2 o'clock in the morning one time. One time he called me right as I was getting ready to leave. I picked him up on the way to work and took him to work with me. And then I ended up giving him a fucking job. But he was still going through it, so he didn't know really how to handle it, guys. So he was kind of, and I'll let him tell the story, because he's gonna come in here. He told me he'd come in here, I'll let him tell the story, but he was medicating too. And so, guys, when I go through this, in the early days, it was like every week. It was every week. Who gets it that frequent? Who gets that feeling, that anxious, impending doom feeling every week? You get it every week? Do you get it? See, you know what's cool about that is, I'm glad, I forget your name now, but say your name.
Emilio.
What is it?
Emilio.
Emilio? So, if you guys saw Emilio on the streets, fucking looks like a crazy motherfucker, huh? Like, I think he fucking looks intimidating, right? So even the tough, intimidating, fucking badass motherfuckers are going through this, because you can't control it. You can't fucking do a shot in the brain and make it go away, guys. Because we put ourselves through that flatline stage of life with no emotion, and then we got out here, and we're still feeling it. All of you guys haven't got there yet. Wait until you get into a room full of people that haven't been to prison, and everybody's like, oh, Christmas was awesome and everything else, and you don't even know how to fucking feel about Christmas. Because and you know what? My first Christmas out, first time in 30 years my whole family was in the same room. Guess whose room they were in? My fucking living room. All my grandkids, all my kids, my whole family, even though my parents haven't been together since I was 9 years old, I got them all together, brother and sister, everybody. None of us have been in the same room together in 30 fucking years. And you know what? I had one of my little fucking things. I had to go in the back room with the guy that I had play Santa, big old 400-pound guy. And I told Clark was like my mentor as a plumber, and I said, Clark, I can't fucking do it. I can't go back out there. I can't go back out there. You know why? Because we don't know how to do that, you guys. And so you have to practice. You have to practice. You feel it, give it, man. Fucking go to somebody that looks like they're feeling it too, man, and say, I fucking hear you, brother. And do it. I'm not telling you guys to be hugging on every motherfucker you meet and acting like a weirdo or anything like that. But I promise you guys, I don't give a fuck how tough you were. Man, I grew up in the streets. I fucking fought, you can ask JT, I'll scrap anybody on the yard. Ask JT. I was the fucking, in the best shape of anybody on the yard ever. Nobody could fucking even do my workouts. I still talk to guys that I'm like, hey, you wanna come and hit a workout with me? No, they don't. They tell me, no, fuck you. I remember when I fucking split my leg open and you said you still have 2 more sets. You know, because we're doing bench jumps and shit. You know, like these, I was just talking to Ricky Duddy the other day. He's like, fucking fuck that, dude. I'm not fucking putting myself through that again. I did in prison. I'm not doing it out here. You know, and so I was that guy, dude. And I'm not saying I won every fight, because I got my nose busted and everything else. But listen, and I'm not saying I'm a badass. I'm a willing participant, just like the rest of you, right? I'm a willing participant. I tell my business partner that all the time. We get in these fucking scraps, you know, back and forth, and he's a big, big motherfucker. I mean, yoked. And you guys that come and interview, you're gonna be like, fuck. Like, he's got a beard down to here, he looks like a Viking, looks very crazy, and is. And we get in arguments all the time, and I'm like, listen, we can keep fucking leveling up, but I'm a willing participant, and you're a willing participant. Where's this gonna go, right? So I've always been that guy, right? I grew up fighting, and mostly getting my ass kicked. I went to Dysart Elementary in Dysart. There were 7 white kids in that school, so you guys know the story. The movie Colors came out that year. So you guys know the story, right? So here's the thing, guys. It doesn't matter how badass you are. You can't badass your way through it. You can't badass your way through it. I'm still a badass, man. I still go and fight with these 20-year-old kids in Muay Thai class and Jiu-Jitsu and stuff like that. And you know, one thing I did find out about that? There's real fighters out here, guys.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers in the penitentiary don't know how to fight. There's real motherfucking fighters. Go take a Muay Thai class and learn some shit. Like, there's some real motherfuckers out here. So it's humbling, right? So all the badassery in the world, and you guys already know how I feel about that. You know what I mean? My wallet says it too. I mean, that's just what I do, right? That's me being me. I feel like I am that. But everybody's got this thing, everybody that's been in there, it's gonna happen if it's not happening yet, where you start feeling doubt, you start feeling all this stuff, it comes down on you like a fucking ton of bricks, like it did me in my brother's living room. My brother was like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? An hour later, I was barely composing myself because it was the first time it had happened to me. And I was like, okay. When it was over though, I felt fucking refreshed. So I got through it, guys. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing. Got through it that first time. And I said, okay, I need to plan for this when it happens again, and undoubtedly it will, right? Because I said, well, I had no control over this one, I won't have any control over the next one, right? So I said, the next time, I'm gonna go into a workout. Or, if I can't go into a workout because I'm standing in front of a customer or in front of a customer's house, I'm gonna call somebody that I trust. So I picked out 4 people and I called them ahead of time and I said, guys, can I call you if I start going through this kind of thing that I'm going through? This is before we knew it was PTSD. I said, can I call you? All 4 said yes. One of them, all right. And so these people agreed to let me call. When it was all said and done, it happened again. My brother was the first one I called. I was laying under a sink, putting a garbage disposal in there. I lost track of time, guys. I was laying under there so long that the lady asked me, hey, you all right under there, honey? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just went outside, got in my van. So people didn't see me. I got in the back of my van and fucking balled up and did it again, guys. By myself. And then I said, I gotta call my brother, let him know I can't finish this job. Called my brother, he walked me through it. Hey, you got this, you got this, you got this. So, guys, I want you to be prepared for this. You guys that are saying it's not happening, that's fine. That's fine. It will. It will, guys. It's gonna happen and you need to be prepared for it. This world is not, we're not ready for this world emotionally out here. When you start seeing these people that have actual feelings, because they've been able to feel. So they just do it, right? And you're gonna wanna do it too. And you're gonna feel very awkward as you guys get out. This is the one thing that's so important for me to come and talk to you guys about. Because when you leave here, you're gonna be in an office meeting where everybody's joking and smoking with each other, you know, during the meeting. My guys do it all the time. And I can always tell the new guy fucking that's fresh out of the penitentiary is just like, you know, because he's trying to hold it in. Because he's so fucking nervous. He's not cool. He's not tough. He's not any of that to me. He's fucking literally fucking a scared man that doesn't know how to live in this world. And that's what we are, guys. That's what we're going into. And I'm not telling you guys to be scared. I'm just telling you it's okay to be scared. Who does this resonate with? Who feels like they're gonna go through this? All right? Listen, I'm telling you guys right now. I considered myself, and I think a lot considered me to be a fucking shoulder to cry on, and fucking a lot of different things. A raiser of men and all this other shit. And I wrote songs about it. That's how strongly I feel about what I've done for other men and women. But I'm telling you, I still go through this, guys. 7 years later, I consider my life as perfect as our lives can be out here, and I still go through it. It's unexplainable. And I got a stack of cards in the truck, and I also, by the way, I brought some clothes and stuff. I don't know what you guys do with them. I bought a few bags of clothes. I don't know. I'm not saying you guys need clothes or anything.
If they're women's clothes, we wear them.
I figured so. But I did, my wife fucking sent some really cool fucking shit. Like, I was like, fuck, man, I paid a lot of money. But she's one of those. But so, guys, I'm gonna give out my card, and I don't care if I know you or if we've met or anything like that. You motherfuckers call me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Why would you call me, guys? What's the rule? You call somebody that's done it, that's been through it. You call somebody that's been through it, or somebody that you already told them, hey, I'm gonna be calling you. You guys will go back to prison if you try to do it on your own. This one thing, This one thing, guys, you guys will go back to prison if you try to fix it on your own. Because you're gonna medicate, you're gonna fucking go and get with some, person that you don't really want to be with to try to fucking, you know what I mean, or whatever. You're gonna do some stupid shit. So who raise your hand if you're willing to call me at 3 o'clock in the morning. You guys won't call me at 3 o'clock in the morning? You won't call me? Why won't you call me? Huh? So if you're going through it at 3 o'clock in the morning, will you call me?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll go through it?
I've already gone through it.
Yeah, so call me. So you don't go back. How much time did you do?
18 years old.
18 years. And you know what? It's tough to call another man, regardless, right? It's tough to call another man and say, I'm going through some shit, I need you. But I don't give a fuck how much time you guys have done. You call me. Giles, will you call me if you go through it?
I got your number on phone, absolutely. So one thing I wanted to touch on, Kenny, as you were talking, I was listening, and I always like to tell these guys the best things that I got out of coming here to do Freedom. Number one was the support system to keep me clean and sober, and that's what you guys are going to get, as we go through this class. I made them write a list down, Kenny, of 10 people that they could call in time of need, right? That they're supposed to keep in their wallet and take with them. But you guys get Kenny's card, put his number in your phone. These are the type of people, when we were talking about, like in class, career advancement and shit like that, or all these fucking things, he fits the mold, right? So one of the things also that I wanted to touch on, besides the PICS, post-incarceration syndrome that he's talking about, is I'm still struggling going through the emotional feelings, shit, and all that stuff he's talking about, right? But I've done some heavy research on it, and guess what? Everybody in this room has it. Yeah.
You guys get
If you didn't know you had it, you guys do, okay?
Right, Kenny.
I'll get you some. I got some more.
So, I want Kenny to comment on something, and just on my perspective of things, to see maybe if we're on that same wavelength, but like, how many of you guys, thought your life was hard when you were strung out? How many of you guys had a hard time with addiction? And, okay, so, the majority of us, right? That was a hard time in life, right? How many of you guys thought that, like, your prison sentence was hard, whether it was a year or 10 years, or whatever? I mean, that's a hard thing to swallow, right? Like, telling your family you got to be away from them for that amount of time is a bitch, right? And that's hard, right? So, I'm sure, a lot of us, along the journey that we take in life, we have a lot of trauma, that comes with substance abuse and incarceration and all this stuff. So how many of you guys know somebody or was related to somebody that has passed away from substance abuse and addiction? So like trauma plays a part, right? And that's hard, right? That's not easy, right? That shit sucks, okay? So and Kenny, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Newsflash, you guys, you know what I mean? Yeah, that shit was hard, right? And it sucked. It was hard. But you got to be prepared for what's life coming at you, okay? Because it's a lot harder to stay clean and sober, and it's a lot harder to be successful, and it's a lot harder to have a good life and a fulfilling life, right? It's way fucking harder. It's way harder, man. It's way harder than getting strung the fuck out on dope, right? It's way harder than doing a little fucking, couple years in the joint, right? So be prepared for that. Know that you're gonna face some challenges. Okay? This isn't all fucking rainbows and butterflies and fairy dust and shit. Alright, what we're talking about takes sacrifice, it takes discipline, there's all these things, and it's not easy. It's not easy to stay clean, so it's not easy. Am I right about that?
So
I mean,
I love that he's bringing up, kind of how hard it is, because really it's not a one-man job. It's your job. But here's the thing. If Giles calls me and he says, "Hey, I'm putting this engine in my truck. I don't have a lift and all this stuff. It's on the ground next to the truck." It's not a fucking one-man job. If he fucking tries to do it himself, it's like him not calling me. It's like him not calling me. He's gonna lift the engine, and he might get it in there, guys. But he's gonna bump himself and bruise himself, and he's gonna fuck the truck up, and it's gonna be a mess. It's not a one-man job, one-woman job, right? You know, I see like doubt in people's eyes when I talk to people all the time. I see doubt in people's eyes because they're like, oh well, fucking, there must be something, right? Who's got a question for me on like how, like you couldn't have done it this easy, or this, you couldn't have done it. Who's got a question like that for me? A doubt question. Somebody give me a doubt question in everything that I've done or everything that I talk about. Does anybody have?
Where did you get like your startup money to get all these businesses? Not necessarily a doubt question. That ties right into what he's saying. I worked every single day. He said it's an everyday job. Sobriety and success and all of this stuff. Mindset, everything's a daily job. I worked a job parallel with starting a business. So my first business, Pentegrity, where you guys have the cards, the Pentegrity now is a holdings business that holds multiple businesses, right? Has multiple licenses, and Pentegrity is a kind of a shoot off of being in the Penn and my last name Pennington, right? So that's why it's called Pentegrity, and also it's part of what I want to be known as, a man of integrity. It's a long road. It's a long road, but part of that is, so to answer your question, I worked at this fucking shit ass job for my brother, although I fucking really respected my brother, so I respected his process. And then I slowly started this business. My first job for that business was $135. It cost me $100 to get the job done. I made $35, but I was starting my business, and I had a customer for life. She still calls me to this day, and I think I've made probably $1 million in the last 7 years off of her. You know, like just that one person. You know, because she manages 380 homes, and it's a pretty good relationship. I can call her anytime, be like, hey, I want to do such and such amount of work, and she'll find 5 or 6 jobs, and I can send people out and I can do this work. So that's kind of how I did that. Now, the company I bought when I left here, just to put it in perspective, guys, if you guys, you guys can have doubt if you want. It was $1 million a year company. The guy was asked for $650,000. My partner talked him down to $300,000. I got on the phone with him. I was on the phone with him for 15 minutes and talked him down to $30,000 I paid cash for the business. $30,000 I paid for 600. The guy had to let it go. I convinced him that it's going anyway. It's either going to go away or you're going to sell it to me for $30,000. I gave the guy $30,000. Why wouldn't I? You know, I got a few trucks and a trailer and a bunch of fucking plumbing tools. Fuck, I got $70,000 in plumbing tools out of the deal, a jetter, all kinds of shit. You know, so when it's all said and done, it's not always like what people think. It's not always like what people think, starting up a business. Sometimes starting up a business is as simple as what the conversation I had with my 11-year-old yesterday. He said, Pops, I want to buy some Robux. I said, well, good luck. He said, well, can I spend some of my money on my savings? I said, fuck no. I said, you can work for it if you want. He goes, okay, what am I going to do? And I said, I don't know, there was just a storm in our neighborhood. Go pick up sticks and charge $25. Say, I charge $25, I'll do whatever you want in your yard for $25. Well, now he's got a business, storm cleanup. It's a business. He's gonna make $25 at a time. He'll probably spend an hour there. So now he's an 11-year-old making $25 an hour. He also works at the local Mexican restaurant for $12.50 an hour. You know what I mean? That's his job. He does every Friday. That's his fucking actual paycheck. So he gets his little $50 from there. But I'm trying to teach him. And then I let him spend his money how he wants. You know what he does with this money, guys? He saves it. And the reason, and it's something I didn't touch on, but it's very important, guys. I want to just say this. I know you want to get into this, Charles, but guys, listen. Don't spend 10% of the money. Don't spend more than 10% of the money you have in the bank. That's a rule that somebody told me when I first got out. Saved my life, guys. So if I don't have $100, I'm just going to suffer. I'm not buying $10 worth of nothing. If I don't have 1,000, I'm not spending 100. Do you guys get that? If I don't have 10,000, I'm not spending 1,000. You know, you see a person has less than $1,000 in the bank, they go and have a $4,000 fucking vacation. What the fuck? That's fucking crazy, you know? So, guys, remember that. It's easy math. It's really easy math. So,
Keep it on the wood, right?
Yeah, so yeah, just guys, that's such an important thing because it's gonna keep you financially free. You're never gonna have that stressor of money, you know what I mean? And these are all like little easy, quirky fucking things for convicts to fucking remember that are fucking simple. They're just simple little things, guys, that keep you out of trouble. But to go back to what you were asking, guys, you gotta have fucking contingency plans for your emotional state.
Because you're not in charge of your emotional state. You're not in charge of that. Not anymore, right? Not anymore, because you guys are being introduced. You guys are like the goldfish that you bought. You know, you guys, who's here has had a goldfish? And you're like, fuck, can I just put them in this water? What do I do with them? And then they're like, no, put them in the bag in the water. Well, you guys are in the bag in the water right now. That's what New Freedom is. You guys are in the bag in the water. You know what I mean? Because that's what you do with a goldfish. And then you cut him open and then you let him go in the water. You still don't know if he's going to acclimate. And so that's what you guys are looking at. That's what you guys are dealing with. You guys still don't know if you're going to acclimate, right? So you guys have to have somebody to help you along the way, you know? So be willing to call, guys. I'm going to get some more of my cards in here. You guys be willing to call. If you guys don't call, you know, you guys didn't raise your hand. You know, some of my partners, girls, get my wife's number and they call one called guy I used to work out with in prison beat his old lady up. We all became friends, and he beat her up in the front yard. And she called my wife. I loved him, she loved her. You know, the whole thing was great. Fucking relationship. We'd go hiking together. We did all this shit. I didn't know he was gonna beat her up. You know what I mean? That's not my style of guy. She called 1 o'clock in the morning. My wife had it on speakerphone. You know what I mean? 'Cause she's like, "What the hell? Jolene's calling." You know. Then she said, "Hey, you just beat me up right in front of my kids and this and that." And my wife said, "Well, come here, and this is the last time we're going to have a conversation about him putting his hands on you, or we're not friends anymore." And you know what she's done since then? She started her own business. She works for a dentist and all this stuff, and she just got full custody of her kids as a single mama. Little scrapper, man. She's just fucking out there doing it. But I know that you're apprehensive about saying, "Hey, I'll call," you know, because it's a guy and all that kind of stuff, and I understand that. But there's other people out there. Call them. You gotta call them, guys. You gotta call them, because when you guys aren't fucking mixing, right? Because I can see you guys kind of have some energy. If you guys aren't mixing at one of these points, right? Who are you gonna call? Each other? Fuck no. Because if you guys aren't getting along, you guys need to call somebody. Have somebody to call. If you don't call me, call somebody. Because I'm your brother, regardless. I'm going through it too. You know what I mean? I'm going through it too, guys. And I'm your brother, and I wouldn't answer the phone for my blood brother as fast as I'll answer the phone for you guys. It's just what it is, guys. We owe it to each other. Go ahead, JD.
Just one of the things to bring you up to date. You know, they're not being dissociated. One of them's a graduate, one of them's another one, the other one's a community partner.
Yeah.
So they're, you know what I mean?
Well,
So I'm sure they have people they call. They're not snubbing their nose at you though.
Well, no, so that's the thing, guys. It doesn't graduate or not, guys. Fucking, you can own this motherfucker. I want the owner to call me. I want the owner to call me if they're having fucking problems.
Right on.
I want them to call you, call somebody. Because guys, listen, this is the one thing that fucking sends you back. It doesn't matter how far along you are. How many guys have you seen fucking been out 5 years? You're like, I don't know what the fuck happened. You know what happened? He couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't take this fucking shit anymore that we go through. And you'll go through it for a long time. I don't know, it's been 7, I can't even tell you how many years you'll go through it. I've been going through it for 7 fucking years. And I called my wife, I'm kind of fucking having my little, you know, I don't even have a word for it, guys. Because I told my wife, I'm having that little thing. You know, I don't even fucking know what to call it. And my wife's like, fucking, well, pull over, fucking sit back and fucking, and sometimes I just fucking let a little fucking, you know, shed a little fucking tear and get over with it. And I feel refreshed, but at least I got somebody on the other line keeping me from doing it my way. You know, because my way is totally fucked. You know, just like your way, just like all of our ways, totally fucked. Doesn't matter how far you've gone. That doesn't affect me in the least. They could own this motherfucker. They could have a fucking master's degree in substance abuse and still be going. This has nothing to do with substances, behavioral health, none of that. This is getting acclimated to a totally different fucking world. When you leave there, you're leaving this microcosm of hate, disdain, fucking just blah. It's fucking, I mean, you know, it doesn't even exist. There's no communities that exist with that kind of shit in them. There's no communities that exist where you fucking can't just fucking, like, laugh out loud because you just want to be fucking stupid. Because somebody will fucking be like, "What's up, boy? They said you're acting all stupid on the run, man. What's up? You know, like you're fucking making us look bad," or whatever the fuck it is. You know, everybody's got something. Every cool guy, every cool yard has some kind of something. And you know, and you get out here and fucking now you don't even know if you want to laugh out loud. You don't even know if you should fucking like go all the way and fucking, you know, dress up for Halloween because you're afraid of what somebody might say. Like it's weird shit that I noticed with convicts. Like it's weird shit. I go all the way with everything. Christmas, Santa's really coming. Like the legit ass fucking dude's coming. I'm fucking going all the way. I got a fucking 10-foot fucking sign on the top of my house lit up that says family on it. I fucking do it. I go all the way because I'm allowing it. So I'm allowing myself to let it out, guys. You guys are gonna want to hold it in, want to hold it in, want to hold it in, want to hold it in. Fucking, if you guys have a win out here, fucking do it. Fucking say, let's go, motherfuckers. Even if that win is just, well, they dropped that $100 fine. That's not a fucking big deal, right? It's not that big of a deal. Fucking celebrate it, and I don't mean go and fucking get ripped. Just jump up, fucking smack your homeboy's hand and say, I'm on my way, motherfuckers. I'm on my way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just do it, guys. Do it. Don't allow this thing to beat us. Me and Speedy talked about it the other day. We're gonna do some stuff together, me and Speedy. And you guys see it, because I know you guys are probably, all you guys that want to help guys like you and girls like you are gonna be around. You guys are gonna be around and you guys are gonna fucking see you guys are gonna watch the fucking seeds grow from stuff that you guys dropped along the way, you know? And you know what? What better way to get charged? I'm leaving here right now, and guess what? This week, I'm supposed to have a vacation, but because I started writing my notes for you guys and fucking kind of contemplating it, I made an appointment to go talk to these people about buying this wrap company that wraps cars. So fucking, I'm telling you guys, it's infectious. You guys watching me and listening to me and fucking taking this in, and me knowing that you guys are someday gonna be like, Kenny, I got this idea for a business plan. I'm like, let's do this, let's sit down, let's put it on paper. I've already done it with one person in here, and I bet you anything, I'm not gonna say who it is, there's a person in this building that I'm gonna fucking start a business with because I like the idea, and I promise you, we'll do $1 million. As soon as we get it up and running, we'll do $1 million. And it's just something that this person dreamed up while he was living here. And I guarantee you, we'll do $1 million. We'll do $1 million. Just a little $1 million a year company doesn't seem like much, right? It doesn't seem like much. But you can feed a company and fucking feed yourself about $500,000 a year, you know, if this company works right? So guys, you can do it. Me and Speedy are gonna do some shit that's fucking, we're gonna blow some shit up. Because his sewer line kind of brought us together. It's kind of weird how that works, you know. And who helped Speedy on this sewer line? Did anybody go over there and dig? I had a feeling it was going to be this fucking guy.
I prayed for him.
You know? Hey, you know what? I know I did too, and I prayed in the way of putting a camera but just so I can locate that shit. But I know that with moral support. Yeah. So guys, does anybody have any questions for me? Because I might not see this class again. You guys are, I guess, graduating or something like that. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I did have one question.
Go ahead.
Do you think you would have been able to do as well as you did without your brother's support when you got out?
So the answer is absolutely not. That being said, if the plan was different, so I wrote a book on my plan, guys. I was just reading it. I should have brought it because I wanted you guys to see. I have all the go home notebooks, all the notes, and then I have the go home book. And the go home book had fucking from 0 to 25 years worth of goals and plans and all the what ifs that could happen. Like if I didn't get along, and I was reading that. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was in my garage because I pulled out my green cards. I still have my green cards from fucking Madison, or well, they called it a horseshoe when I went to the prison, but I still got my green cards, and I was like, fucking, I had told you guys 47 felonies. I wanted to count and make sure that I was being accurate, and I pulled my green cards out, and I was looking at them. I was like, fuck, I can't believe I got my gun racks back with all these charges. But so I read a couple of things out of my go home notebook, and one of the things was if that didn't happen, and my contingency plan was to go to work with my dad, and I put fucking 911 on there, like no. So then I put fucking to go to a halfway house. And then I had all these notes on halfway house, like it had to be this, it had to be that, it had to be this, non-smoking, all this different stuff, you know what I mean? Like it had to have a gym. It had to have something for me to work out. So like, cause I knew that they offered that in a lot of these places. So my contingency plan after contingency, look, I have not started one business without writing down what I'm gonna do And what if that doesn't work?
That part.
And then after the what if it doesn't work, what if that what if doesn't work? And so that's, you know, we talked about our plans, like building a building. Have a plan for everything. Because you guys work for New Freedom?
Yeah.
What if you guys owned a New Freedom? No, you two. You guys don't? You guys are graduates of it? But what if you guys owned a New Freedom? Like, cause this was dreamed up by convicts, really, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
This was all dreamed up by convicts. Like, without the mind of a convict, this place wouldn't be here. So think about that for a minute. The mind of a convict got into all these other minds. One convict was sitting there fucking, was it Joe Chipetta? Was Joe Chipetta kind of had a lot to do with it? Yeah, so, and we all know Joe. Like, I know Joe, you would have never, well, you would have, and you wouldn't have kind of thought that this would ever been his imagination, or, you know, you got the Tracy Kovacs of the world, where if you guys ever knew Tracy Kovac back in the day, you probably would have thought, nah, he probably wouldn't be loving people as much as he does, but he sure fucking loves. And that's a thing, guys. It takes a lot of hate and discontent and fucking violence to become that peaceful of a person. And so we already did all the hate and discontent and violence, guys. Now we can become peaceful, if you allow it, you know? So, did you have a question?
I just wanted to say something. There is, you can get a hold of your probation officer and talk to your probation officer, but I think it's like every other month you can go into this library. They have like a website. I don't have the website on me, but you can get your rights restored. You can
Yeah.
get, your thing and stuff.
You mean like the set aside?
Yeah.
Guys, you call me and we'll do it while I'm on the phone. It took me 15 minutes. It took me 15 minutes. Call my number, get in front of a computer, call my number. If you're off paper, I don't give a fuck about all the, you haven't been off paper long enough, all those myths, fuck all that shit. I don't give a fuck about, well, I have gun charges, all that shit. If you're a dangerous crime, you gotta go through, it's gotta be 10 years. That's the only rule. If you're a dangerous crime. If you're non-dangerous, look, I had a great attorney. I have a lot of fucking crimes that could have just went dangerous, repetitive. All of mine were deemed non-dangerous, non-repetitive, although I was roped. So think about that for a minute. It's how they initialize them in your sentencing. It doesn't matter what you actually think your crimes were, because I have aggravated assault on a police officer with a gun. With a gun, guys. I held the fucking gun on the police officer, and I still got my fucking gun rights back. Because it doesn't really matter. It matters how you were sentenced. And it took me 15 minutes on the computer. I did it 3 times though, because I had some fines involved. But yeah, you're right. If you're out of Maricopa County, I can help you really easy. If you're in another county, we can figure it out. I've helped a couple guys out of Yavapai and stuff like that. But we all got our rights back and shit. All of us.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody around me's got their rights back except for one guy, and he's fucking got murder and everything else, and he's not getting his shit back. You know?
That's like really important.
Go ahead.
Do you have the travel rights back? Like you can go to
I can do anything. I can do anything I want. I can do anything I want, guys. Think about that. Think about that, guys.
If you carry a gun, you can go to another gun.
Yeah. I mean, look. I'm leaving here. I'm about to go buy Travis, the guy that was with us. It's his birthday tomorrow. I'm about to go buy him a $3,000 gun for his birthday because that's what I can do. I can do it if I want. You know what I mean? And it's less than 10% of what I have in the bank, right? Because that's the rule, right? You guys remember that part? That's the rule. Let's go ahead.
I know, so what if, cause I tried that before on my first case, and then they say you gotta be, have a full discharge from DOC, which means you have to be off parole, and then you have to, pay all your, I still haven't paid my restitution for my first case, so.
Yeah.
Is
So-
that still possible?
So I'll tell you how it went, guys. So you applied for it, all this stuff, and there's all these people out here trying to get money from people to get their rights back. One guy charges like $5,000. My brother paid $5,000. I was like, I'm not doing that. So I paid $15, and that was for a parking pass, just so I could go in the courtroom, go to court. I requested a trial. The first time I did it, they denied me. And they denied me because of my extensive criminal history. So then I put in for it, and I put 90 letters. Frickin', I did all this information about certifications and licenses and all that stuff. They denied me because of money. I owed them $2,900 from 22 years ago. I paid it, put in for it, requested a hearing. Commissioner gave me a hearing. Had a couple people speak at my hearing, but I had all those letters, everything else. And the guy gave me my rights back. The last thing he said to me, I know how important your family is. I'm gonna give you your gun rights back as well, so you can protect your family. Because that was one of the things I asked for, you know? But I can vote now. I can make a difference in my community. I can vote for things, you know, and I can do things. More importantly, when Google says, hey, we need to do background checks on everybody in your business so you can become a Google guaranteed company, Like, now I'm a Google guaranteed company and my name's on that shit, you know what I mean? Because otherwise they'd be like, oh, this fucking guy's got this record and everything else, but my record doesn't show up. So it's not just, hey, can I get my gun rights back? It's a business decision, and it was for me, guys. It really was a business decision for me, because I was going and doing some military contracts, and they kicked me out, and I was pissed because I fucking did, because I could have, you know, if they just gave you your rights back when you were done paying your fucking sentence, then you know, and it's not right, but you know, that's the kind of stuff maybe we stand up as a group as years go by and we figure out a way to fix that. Like the day you get out and the day you're off paper, you're done paying, man. You're done paying for the shit you did. You know what I mean? So don't allow yourself to pay for it longer than you have to. And I'm not talking about getting your rights back. I'm talking about up here, guys. It's over. You guys are out. You guys are free, and be free. You know? Don't allow somebody to ever fucking look at you any other way. You know? I buy everything that says freedom on it. Why? Because I fucking love freedom. I love it. And you know, part of getting the rights back, that was pretty nice. Like, I took my property box out, I think I told you guys, put a bunch of explosives in it with my police reports and everything the day I got my concealed carry permit, you know, because I was like, that's ultimate freedom. I could go anywhere now. Now that card, there's certain states I won't even go in because they don't allow you to conceal carry. I won't even go to those states. Fuck, I have no use for them states. But I'm going to Vegas Thursday or Wednesday, and I can carry my gun in the casino under my suit, fucking whatever, you know what I mean? And I can do what the fuck I want. And it's freedom. It's freedom. That was the last thing they took from me, you know? That was the last little thing they were holding. Go ahead.
Another thing too, like, if we get our voting rights back, we can vote for, like, you know, what is it, that proxy to help get inmates out.
Yeah.
It'll make a change.
Yeah, so if everybody, think about it, if everybody that left here got their voting rights back and we were all on the same page about doing things that are helping convicts,
Yeah.
well then it starts putting more money in places like this. It's not just, there's little tiny moves, guys. Your one little tiny move, as we all make it together, changes things, guys. It changes shit. So, look, I've been long-winded today, guys, because I know you guys are going off to the races. You guys get my number one way or another. If you guys don't have any use for me after you leave here, that's fine. But you know, we'll see you again. You know, we'll see you again sometime. But here's the thing, guys. It's important to me that you guys make it, and I am your guys' brother. I'm not just up here talking about, hey, look at me, look at me. Every fucking person in this room can fucking lay down at night the same way I do, feeling like they're accomplished, feeling like they're gonna be safe, feeling like fucking everything's all right, and it will be all right, guys. You guys got a hard road ahead of you. Be ready for it. Just be ready to work. Like, have your boots on all the time. What's the Chicanos? They roll up their beds and fucking have their boots on all day. You guys remember that? I used to think that was the coolest fucking thing. That the Chicanos are ready every fucking day. I used to think, why don't we start something like that? I used to ask other old white dudes that. Why don't we start something like that? Because that's fucking like life, right? You wake up, I make my bed. My wife got on the surveillance. We have a little baby surveillance camera this morning while I was making the bed. Because she's a nurse, she was working. And she got on the speaker and she said, that's my sexy baby right there, because I was making the bed. That's the kind of stuff that turns her on, right? Because I'm making the bed, right? And then I put my shoes on because I might have to go out and do something in the yard. Chicanos have been doing that for years. Nobody ever thought of it that way, right? They always thought of it as fucking, but it's the more productive way to live your life, right? Get up, make your bed, you accomplished one goal already. You made your bed. And then put your boots on in case you have other stuff you have to do. Or in case the shit gets fucking deep and you have to fucking act now. Or if somebody pulls up in front of your house and like, hey, you wanna go make $100? Fucking, let's go clean this yard real quick. And you're like, fuck it, I wasn't doing anything else. You already got your boots on, guys. Go to work. You know what I mean? So, that's all I got, guys. I appreciate you guys having me. You got it? Appreciate it.